Okay, today we are going to be talking about volume. So in Module 18, we're going to be talking about volume. 18.1 is the volume of prisms and cylinders. So the basic volume formula is, well, if we know the area of something and it has two dimensions, the third dimension is just multiplying our area by the third dimension. So a right prism is made up of, well, it's a rectangular prism, in other words for this. There is going to be the length, the width, well, we'll call this actually, this is the length, this is the width, and this is the height. If we were to find the area of just this base here, that'd be length times width. And if you imagine taking a bunch of the bases on the bottom and stacking them on top of each other, we would end up getting our volume. And that's why when we multiply it all together, we end up saying that the volume is length times width times height. I'm sure that you remember that from middle school. Now, a cylinder is the same way. The area of our base here is the area of a circle, which is pi r squared. And all you need to do is multiply it by a third dimension, which is the height. So the volume for a cylinder is pi r squared times height. When we talk about the volume of a prism here, we have, well, length times width times height. That's the one I just showed you. The other type of prism that we have is a cube. And since a cube has all three that are the same, the volume is going to be s cubed. We wouldn't want to write s times s times s. So we're going to try a couple of problems here. Oh, we're not going to worry about that one. And we're not talking about the density or anything here. Oh, look, it's 3. So if we wanted to figure out the volume of this cube, since it's 3 times 3 times 3, that'd be 3 cubed. 3 times 3 is 9, times 3 is 27, and we say this is centimeters cubed. That simple. Let's look at number 4 and number 5. If you wanted to find the volume of shapes, sometimes all you need to do is just count them. How many do you have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Now, before you go ahead and say this is 11 units cubed, you want to say, oh, look, the volume is 8, so 8 times 11 makes 88 units cubed. Volume is units cubed, by the way, don't do units squared. The volume of this one has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 of them, but it says each side has each cube has a side of 2k, so this is 2k. So the volume of 1 cubed is 2k cubed. So it's going to be, the 2 gets cubed, that's 8. The k gets cubed, that is cubed. So each cube has a volume of 8k cubed. We're going to multiply that by 9 because there's 9 of them, and so this gets 72k cubed units cubed. Next we have the volume of a cylinder, and what's the difference between an oblique cylinder or an oblique prism? Well, oblique just means that it is slanted, it is tilted sideways, and there's a guy called Cavalieri. His principle says that if I take a prism or a cylinder and I tilt it sideways, you will end up getting the same volume. The way you could think of this is think about a stack of coins, and if I take that stack of coins and I slant it sideways so that it starts off like this, it ends up looking like this, and each of these are individual coins. They're now slanted sideways. Does our volume change? It doesn't, because the volume of one of the circles is the same. So if all of them are slanted, you're going to end up getting the same volume. And the same principle will apply for a stack of paper as well. Just because I take the stack of paper and I tilt it sideways doesn't mean that my volume will change, which means that if you see an oblique prism or an oblique cylinder, you can just pretend that it is a right prism or a right cylinder, which means that it's just straight up. So all you need to do is find the height for any of those, and you just multiply by the base, and you end up getting the volume. So let's go ahead and look at some problems here. It says that the height of the cylinder is 3 times that of its radius. So the height equals 3 times its radius, so 3r. Well, what is its radius? It says that the area of the base is 81 pi, and we know that area, so 81 pi, equals pi r squared. Therefore, r is equal to 9. Our radius is 9, so how much is our height? So our height is going to be 27. So how much is the volume? Well, we just take our area of our base, multiply it by our height, and we end up getting 27 times 81 pi. 27 times 81 is 2187 pi units of centimeters cubed. Oh, which I guess they approximate. You could take 2187 times pi and you'll get 6,870. So it depends on how you want to write your answer. Oh yeah, because it says round to the nearest tenth, so I suppose I should read the directions. Let's go ahead and look at this one here. It says the height of this square-based, oblique square-based prism is 4 times the length of its base. So the height equals 4 of one of the lengths. It's a square. So how are we going to figure out the area of our base if we have a square? So 75 equals our length squared, because the area of a square is base times height, or base times itself, or side times itself. So we're going to have to take the square root of 75. So that gives us 8.66. And I suppose they want us to round to the nearest tenth. Okay, well, I'll round to the nearest tenth at the very end. So if I know that one of the sides is 8.66, I know that our height is 4 times 8.66. That gives us a height of 34.64. So in order to find the volume, we're going to multiply our area of our base, which is 75, multiplied by our height, which is 34.64. Which gives us 2,598 centimeters cubed. Oh, what was it, nearest tenth? So actually, since it's 0.07, I have centimeters, 0.1 cubed. All right. Why don't you go ahead and pause it, do both of these, and then I'll do them as soon as you unpause it. Okay, so for number 6, we have our radius, which is 12, and our height, which is 45. So we're going to say the volume is pi radius squared, pi r squared, times height, which is 45. So I'm going to write this as 144 times 45. This is going to be 6,480 pi inches cubed. If you wanted to round that by multiplying it by pi, you could do that, but it doesn't say anything about that in the directions, so I'm going to leave it in terms of pi. And then for this one here, it looks like we have a rectangular prism. So we have length, our volume is going to be length times width times height. So our volume is 4x times 5x times x plus 2, and we're going to simplify that. So 4x times 5x, 4 times 5 is 20, x times x is x squared, and then we just need to distribute. So 20x squared times x is 20x cubed, and then 20 times 2 is 40x squared. So we'll say that will be our, oh, I guess we should write centimeters cubed. So if we were to get an x value, we can plug that in here and we'll figure out how much volume that is. Okay, so your assignment is 1 through 7, and I'll see you later today. If I can pause it. Where is it? There it is.